What if I told you that the secret to a garden that explodes with color next spring isn't what you plant in spring, but what you're planting right now, this October? Most gardeners are winding down, but the smart ones? They're just getting started. Stick around because I'm about to flip everything you thought you knew about spring gardening completely on its head. Hey there, garden friends. Welcome back to Earthly Gardening, where we keep your garden thriving without emptying your wallet. If you're new here, you've just stumbled into your new favorite gardening hangout, so get comfortable. And to my returning viewers, you absolute legends, thank you for coming back. You know what we're about here: real talk, real results, zero fluff. Now, before we dig into today's game changer, do me a quick favor. Smash that subscribe button and flip on those notifications because the content coming your way over the next few weeks is going to transform your garden game completely. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single episode. And hey, if you find value in what we share today, drop a like. It genuinely helps more gardeners discover these tips. Alright, let's talk about something most gardening channels won't tell you. October isn't the end of your gardening season. It's actually your secret weapon for creating a spring garden that'll have your neighbors stopping mid-walk to stare. See, while everyone else is raking leaves and calling it quits, you're going to be planting perennials that are quietly establishing root systems underground, getting ready to absolutely dominate come springtime. And here's the kicker. These plants are tougher than your morning coffee, they come back year after year, and they cost you less in the long run than those fancy annuals everyone keeps buying. We're talking budget-friendly, low-maintenance, high-impact gardening. That's the Earthly way. Today, I'm breaking down the perennials you need to get in the ground this October. Not the typical stuff you've heard 1,000 times. I'm giving you options that pack serious visual punch, survive like champions, and won't have you second-guessing your bank account. Perennial 1. Catmint. Let's kick things off with something I call the cloud maker. Catmint. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't that just for cats? Listen, this plant is so much more than a feline party favor. Picture this. Billowy clouds of lavender blue flowers that seem to float above silvery green foliage from late spring all the way through fall. We're talking months of color. And the texture? It's like your garden is wearing the softest, dreamiest sweater you've ever seen. Here's why October planting is genius for catmint. This plant needs time to establish roots before it goes full spectacle mode. Plant it now, and by spring, you've got a root system that's locked in and ready to produce flower spikes that just keep coming. Plus, it's drought-tolerant once established, deer hate it, and bees absolutely lose their minds over it. The budget win? One plant spreads to about 2 to 3 feet wide. That's serious coverage from a single purchase. You're getting professional landscaper results without the professional landscaper price tag. Plant it along pathways, use it as a border, or let it spill over walls. It works everywhere and asks for almost nothing in return. Perennial 2. Foam flower. Next up, we've got what I like to call the shade whisperer. Foam flower. If you've got those tricky shady spots where nothing seems to thrive, this is your new best friend. Imagine delicate, frothy spikes of white or pink flowers rising above a carpet of heart-shaped leaves in spring. It looks expensive, it looks high maintenance, but here's the secret. It's neither. This plant practically grows itself once you get it in the ground. October planting gives foam flower exactly what it craves. Cool temperatures and consistent moisture help it establish without the stress of summer heat. By the time spring rolls around, you've got a plant that's ready to carpet your shade garden with texture and interest that lasts way beyond its bloom time. The leaves alone are worth the price of admission. Some varieties have burgundy patterns that look hand-painted. We're talking year-round interest from a plant that costs less than your weekly coffee run. And because it spreads through runners, you can divide it after a couple of years and create more plants for free. That's the kind of gardening math I absolutely love. Perennial 3. Spurge. Now let's talk about something with serious architectural drama. Spurge. Specifically, cushion spurge or Euphorbia polychroma if you want to get fancy at garden parties. This plant is like the minimalist designer of the garden world. Bright chartreuse flowers in spring that glow like they've got their own power source, sitting on top of neat, mounded foliage. It's modern, it's striking, and it photographs like an absolute dream. Here's what makes October the perfect time. Spurge is one of those plants that really dislikes being moved once it settles in. Give it fall planting time, and it establishes deep roots over winter without you having to fuss over it. Come spring, it wakes up ready to perform with zero drama. The genius part? This plant thrives on neglect. Poor soil? No problem. Drought? It laughs in the face of drought. Deer and rabbits? They won't touch it. You're basically installing a permanent fixture that delivers color and structure year after year with the maintenance level of a pet rock. And that chartreuse color? It makes every other plant around it look better. It's like the friend who makes everyone else in the photo look good. Quick pause here, folks. If you're getting value from this and picturing these plants in your own garden right now, do me a solid. Hit that like button. Drop a comment telling me which of these perennials you're most excited to try. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We've got so much more budget-friendly garden gold coming your way, and I don't want you to miss any of it. Alright, back to transforming your spring garden. Perennial 4, Cranesbill Geranium. Let's move on to what I call the overachiever. Cranesbill Geranium, not to be confused with those annual geraniums in pots at the store. We're talking about the hardy perennial version that comes back stronger every single year. These plants produce masses of saucer-shaped flowers in shades of blue, purple, pink, or white depending on the variety. And the bloom time? We're looking at weeks of continuous color. But here's what really sets them apart. The foliage is just as attractive as the flowers. Many varieties have leaves that turn stunning shades of red and orange in fall, giving you 2 seasons of serious visual impact. October planting is brilliant for Cranesbill because it gives them time to develop roots in cool, moist soil. They'll settle in quietly over winter, and when spring hits, they're ready to spread into those beautiful mounds of color and texture. Some varieties will even rebloom in late summer if you give them a quick trim after the first flush. Budget-wise, you're looking at plants that fill space fast, require basically no maintenance once established, and handle everything from full sun to partial shade. They're also fantastic at suppressing weeds because of how densely they grow. You're not just buying a pretty plant. You're buying a hardworking member of your garden team that pays dividends year after year. Perennial 5, Solomon's Seal. Now for something that brings pure elegance without any fuss. Solomon's Seal. This is the plant that makes people stop and ask, what is that beautiful thing? Picture gracefully arching stems with pairs of leaves arranged like a green staircase. And in spring, tiny white bell-shaped flowers dangling underneath. It's like nature's own chandelier. The whole effect is so effortlessly elegant that people assume it must be difficult to grow. Spoiler alert, it's not. October is prime time for planting Solomon's Seal because it's a woodland native that thrives in cool conditions. Plant it now, and those rhizomes will spread underground all winter, creating a colony that emerges in spring like a perfectly choreographed dance. It's one of those plants that gets better with age, spreading slowly into impressive clumps that look like they belong in a botanical garden. The beauty here is that it thrives in shade where other plants struggle. Got a spot under trees where grass won't grow? Solomon's Seal will turn it into a showstopper. And in fall, the foliage turns a gorgeous golden yellow before going dormant. You're getting spring flowers, summer elegance, and fall color from one plant that you basically plant and forget. Perennial 6, Masterwort. Last but absolutely not least, let me introduce you to the cottage garden superstar, Masterwort. This plant is like something out of a fairy tale, and I mean that in the best possible way. The flowers are these intricate pincushion-like blooms surrounded by a collar of papery bracts. They come in shades of white, pink, and deep burgundy, and they look like tiny works of art. The entire plant has this old-world charm that instantly elevates any garden space. It's romantic, it's interesting, and it photographs incredibly well if you're into that sort of thing. Here's why October planting is clutch. Masterwort loves cool, moist conditions. Plant it in fall and it establishes without the stress of heat. By spring, you've got a plant that'll bloom from late spring into summer, and if you deadhead it, you can often get a second round of flowers in fall. That's exceptional value from one plant. The other genius aspect? Masterwort is perfect for cutting. You can bring those intricate blooms inside and they last for ages in a vase. So not only are you creating a stunning outdoor space, but you're also growing your own supply of cut flowers. And in a world where a single bouquet can cost $20 or more, that's serious budget gardening magic right there. Now, let's talk about actually getting these beauties in the ground, because October planting does have a few tricks to it. First, prepare your soil properly. Mix in some compost or well-rotted organic matter. This isn't being fancy. This is giving your plants the foundation they need to establish strong roots before winter. Think of it as setting up your plants for success rather than just hoping they figure it out. Second, water thoroughly at planting time and keep the soil consistently moist for the first few weeks. Fall rain usually handles this, but if you're in a dry spell, you'll need to step in. Once the ground starts to freeze, you can back off. Third, add a layer of mulch after the ground freezes. Not before, because you don't want to create a cozy home for rodents. But once things freeze, a 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch helps prevent freeze-thaw cycles that can heave plants out of the ground. And here's a pro tip that'll save you money. Look for end-of-season sales at nurseries right now. Plants might look a bit rough after a summer of sitting on display, but perennials are tough. They'll bounce back beautifully, and you can often snag them at 50% off or more. That's how you build an incredible garden without breaking the bank. So there you have it, garden friends. 6 powerhouse perennials that you can plant this October for a spring garden that'll absolutely blow your mind. We talked about catmint's dreamy clouds of color, foam flowers' shade-loving magic, spurge's architectural drama, cranesbill's overachieving nature, Solomon seal's woodland elegance, and masterwort's cottage garden charm. Each one of these plants brings something special to your garden. And the best part? They're all low-maintenance, budget-friendly, and they come back year after year getting better with age. That's the kind of smart gardening that makes sense. Now here's what I want you to do. Pick 1 or 2 of these plants that really spoke to you today. Get them in the ground this month, and watch what happens next spring. Document it, share it with us in the comments, and let's celebrate those wins together. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our budget-friendly gardening tips. We've got more incredible content coming that's going to keep your garden thriving through every season. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and remember that an incredible garden doesn't require an incredible budget. It just requires a little knowledge and the willingness to get your hands dirty. I'll see you in the next one.